show that 1 in 4 women will experience low self-esteem at some point in their life. And with the popularity of social media these days, I can definitely see how that would be the case, because there are so many different images that are flooding our girls and women also, that can lead people to have feelings of low self-esteem. And unfortunately, what a lot of people don't realize is the images aren't always real, or you don't know the story behind those images. Some of them is, oh, I woke up like this, but you don't realize they spent 2 hours doing makeup, 3 hours picking out what they were going to wear, and you don't see all of that. You see this snapshot.
I started limiting love on myself at the start of middle school, like 6th and 7th grade. And it started by comparing myself to other girls who were considered as pretty. And because I knew that I didn't have certain features, like the same features as they had, then I considered myself not as pretty as them.
So the time that I limited love on myself definitely started when I knew in my heart of hearts, or at least the story I created in my head, was the fact that my dad wanted a boy. So he has 2 children, and they're both girls, and I just really felt like he wanted a boy. And so I made it my business to try to be the boy that he's always wanted. So I was a tomboy, I played all these different sports, and I did all these things to try to get my dad's attention, try to, validate that I was worthy of, him being more involved in my life. And that is kind of that energy, I was telling myself, and I didn't realize it then, but I was telling myself that me as I am was not enough. And I could see how that has shown up in other relationships in my life, but that is definitely where it started.
In the 1940s, doctors Kenneth and Mamie Clark, 2 Black psychologists, decided to put this idea to the test, whether or not Black children were being influenced by European standards of beauty and value. And so they took these young children and they put them into a room, and they asked the Black children to decide between white dolls and Black dolls. They asked very simple questions like, which doll is more beautiful? Which doll is more valuable? Which doll is dirty? Which doll would you rather be? More often than not, the Black children chose the white dolls over the Black dolls. Fast forward 2006. This study is replicated, and one would hope with the Black Power movement, with the images of Black women and Black beauty changing in the media, that the results would be different. Turns out the results were not.
For me, it placed limits on my self-love because I really didn't know self. I started placing my love really on the qualities of others that others deemed were beautiful or just different and unique. So I think that's where my limits came in.
For me, my confidence level dropped. I walk around with my head low, try to avoid mirrors. Academics was like the only thing that I knew that I was good at, so I would put like all of my energy and all of my, that would be like my happiness.
When I had my first relationship, I was trying to please my boyfriend and do what I felt like he wanted, instead of being true to who I am and saying, if that is not enough, then maybe this isn't the right fit for me. And I've done that a lot over the years. So that's definitely kind of how me starting that type of having that type of energy when it comes to my relationship with my father, and that bleeding into other relationships in my life.
African Americans generally have a more collectivistic culture, which means that how we see ourselves is very much influenced by the relationships that we are a part of, our close relationships and the relationships that we have more broadly speaking. So African Americans' view of themselves, including Black women's view of themselves, is very much intertwined with their communities, in particular intertwined with the kind of social support they receive and also with how they interact with religious institutions. So if Black women are in religious institutions, and many Black women do have some kind of religious foundation, if they are part of religious institutions that uplift and nurture and recognize the importance of Black women, that impacts how they see themselves. If they are part of social support systems, family networks that nurture, uplift, and value Black women, then they are more likely to value themselves. It's one reason that it's so important for Black women to be a part of social support groups where they are loved and cared for and celebrated for being who they really are?
Well, now I don't really have like issues with self-love now, but we tend to encourage each other and say, "Oh, that looks good on you," or we point out things that make us different from everyone else, or just different as an individual. A lot more appreciation for self.
I agree. We really embrace each other. We encourage each other, and I think it's just really not enough as a society as a whole encouraging each other. You don't see many females saying, "Hey, girl, I like your hair. Hey, girl, you look good in that." So we make sure that we do that, and we make sure we let each other know that you're unique, you're different, and it's okay. You're supposed to be. No one is supposed to be the same.
Those three things, a life coach and like being accountable and then checking in with yourself, are three major keys on removing the limits of self-love so that you can be whole and available and authentic to yourself and those around you.
Take some self-inventory. Really see what areas can I work on loving myself. What areas can I raise my love level for myself? Because there are things that we all, may feel like we don't like about ourselves, but it doesn't have to leave us feeling incomplete or like we don't compare to other people, because we don't have to compare to anyone else. You just have to be your best self.
What are your standards for beauty? What are your standards for contributing to the world around you? What are your standards for what makes someone worthwhile? And even as you're doing that, it's perfectly okay to ask for help if you need it. As human beings, we are hardwired for relationship. We are interdependent. There's a difference between doing everything on your own or being completely dependent on someone else. And that difference, that balance, is interdependence. It's the recognition that as you need me, I also need you. Sometimes that takes the form of stepping outside of your immediate circle, stepping outside of your religious institutions to go to an objective party to talk to them about what's going on for you. That could be a counselor, that could be a therapist, that could be a life coach, someone who you can be yourself with and who can give you some guidance and direction to get you back lined up with who you are and what's important for you.